Well, thanks everyone for joining us. This is Andrew Williams Jr., and we're here on Saturday, March the 4th, 2023. And this is a group that's coming together for pre-planning for an August 26, 2023, 7th annual community, well, actually paint-out by graffiti artist Team Create. This is inspired by Silky D. Williams, who is the international Goodwill Ambassador for 5 Points Youth Foundation. However, this is going to be a little different event. Even though this will be the 7th annual event, it's happening at a particular time. 2023 is the 50th anniversary of hip hop being celebrated around the world. So we're taking this to a global stage. Among the other sponsors and participants that I represent not just 5 Points Youth Foundation, but in this capacity, I've been honored to represent UNESCO. And so the idea is that we're going to take this event coming up on August 26th as a way that kind of flexion point as we here in Los Angeles are getting ready for the 2028 Olympics. But the idea is that on the West Coast, we are taking the lead in establishing what has been known as the West Coast Organizing Committee for the Universal Hip Hop Museum. Michelle Farrell, who's on the line with us today, she's traveling right now, but she is here. She's the educational director. Silky D. Williams is the entertainment director, and I myself am on the National Advisory Board for the Universal Hip Hop Museum. But what we're doing has much more important and relevant than just the event or the location. On my screen, I'm sharing the fact that it was August 11th designated as Hip Hop Celebration Day, and the entire month of August was recognized as Hip Hop Recognition Month, with November 2021 as Hip Hop History Month. So, as Michael Kubu said, every year there's a celebration of the 5 elements of hip hop, and the location of 5 Points Youth Foundation has been very active in that in the past as well. But this is also the 5th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So we want to take this opportunity to demonstrate that hip hop is not just local, but global, and it has a global impact and implications on things that we do. I want to take you right now back to 2001, where there was a UN event held at May 16th by the Temple of Hip Hop, where hip hop, in fact, became recognized by the United Nations as a intangible cultural asset. So the organization I mentioned to you earlier, the UNESCO Center for Peace, it was actually founded in 1945 in Sendai, Japan, because after the World War II, Japan was not invited to become a member of UNESCO. So on Sendai, they created a private civil society organization to work alongside UNESCO to actually be the representatives of the peace on the ground. So I'm pleased to let you know that we do have the UNESCO Center for Peace as one of the sponsors of this upcoming event. They're also co-sponsoring an event in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, later this year in July. And this will be an International Diaspora African Festival. That's relevant to what we're doing at 5 Points Youth Foundation, because the hip hop community has a worldwide impact. So again, I'm taking this opportunity, if we so choose, to take over stage. As you can see here, this is celebrating from July 23rd through July the 30th in Windsor, Ontario, this event that brings the diaspora together. That's really relevant to us as well, because Windsor is across the bridge from Detroit, which, as you know, has a very rich history in hip hop. What we're attempting to do is to bring together the energy that we have going on, and now use today's technology to be able to not just capture it by photos and videos, but by live streaming, pre-recording, promoting, and syndicating events as we go forward. I'll enlarge this a little bit, see that in the past, it's been a 5 Points Youth Foundation project, but my company, Andrew Network, is taking the lead on this, along with the New World Network. So the intent is for us to have a global presence. And what I'd like to do is for each of us here to plan a time going forward that we can do an interview with you about what you're doing, what your organization is. And in the context of that, we do also want to be able to have you to do an infomercial about your own activities. But then we want to shout out to this event coming up in August. So that's what we're going to be asking all of our networks to do, to put together the video shout out to this event coming up. But on a wider scale, what we're doing has a much wider implication. We're right now in, of course, the third millennium. It was in 2000 when the world decided that it's time for us to have, in the first place, a debt jubilee, where the countries of the world would be able to give debt relief to those countries that were struggling. This was in 1999. It was unfortunate that the United States and Israel themselves vetoed that outcome of that, the Durban Declaration against racism and xenophobia. But that was just the lead up to the Millennium Development Goals. And that, contrary to what people may think, that was not just a 15-year plan. It was, in fact, the first phase of a 1,000-year plan for us to achieve peace on Earth. So the Millennium Development Goals transitioned to what we now know as the Sustainable Development Goals. But we are also responsible for the wider challenge here in America of saving the soul of America. And the original sin has been designated by presidents and others along the way is, unfortunately, chattel slavery. And this is also a very important time because this is, in fact, an international decade for people of African descent. So we want to take this event coming up at 5 Points Youth Foundation to showcase all of those things. But we ourselves, me in particular, I'm on the committee for the Millennium Arch Committee. It was founded in 1999 and was to have a place to symbolize the humanity of people around the world as one global family. So in 1999, there was a journey taken out into the Atlantic Ocean, and on the ocean floor, a replica was dropped on the ocean floor of this symbol that you see, the Millennium Arch. And later, a group in Bermuda actually paid for this arch, a replica, to be installed in the United States Virgin Islands at St. Croix. So there's a physical representation now of this arch symbolizing our ability to pull ourselves together and to come together as one people. As far as this event coming up is concerned, at 5 Points Youth Foundation in August, they'll be preceded by other events that we're sponsoring with UNESCO and my own organization. One of those is called California Love 50/50 West Coast Hip Hop, and that's being sponsored by Hip Hop for Peace, Tina Tyler. She's unable to join us here, but she will be getting a follow-up of this recording to share with her network as well. So the idea is that we are identifying events that are coming up around the year that we can begin to utilize our own efforts to kind of provide a narrative for our children to understand that no matter where they are, they're still connected to a global and not just a local event. So it's about 9:30 now. And so that was just kind of a background of what we're doing. And so I'm opening up the floor now to thoughts and discussions about ways that what you're doing and what we're doing can come together to culminate on August 26th of 2023. So that's where we are right now. I'll open up the floor, and if there are questions or comments, now's that time. and then we'll take it from there for the rest of this half hour.
Yeah, Mr. Williams, I'll just jump in real quick and say, just by the introductions alone, I can see that we are all interconnected. And I think that everything that we're doing individually and with our own organizations already align with everything you just presented. And so I don't see anything but a seamless transition into bringing light, you know, everything that we're doing individually and what we plan to do collectively. So yeah, I'm excited. I appreciate that presentation. I appreciate that knowledge of you know, what's going on outside of what it is that myself and my organizations, you know, are doing, and to know that those things are taking place. That's you know, it's an honor to see that, and I'm excited to see that happen. And you know, I'm just glad to be part of it in any way possible, and any contributions that myself and my networks can provide. You know, we're here for it.
Excellent. Well, I do want to mention that Lisa Nees is up in the San Francisco area, I believe, and we do have a footprint there in Oakland with the Ed Fu Foundation, Sheldon Williams. He's not able to join us now, but again, I kind of wear that hat as well. And he represents those hip hop entertainers and also producers, not just in California, but also in New Zealand. So we'll be able to kind of tap into a global audience. Elisa Neves, please, your thoughts, ideas?
I'm happy to listen to whatever you have to say, and we make those connections. I'm happy to make them work, because there's an awful lot of places where people can fit themselves. Through this work that I've been doing, it's been really amazing how many people are all moving in the same direction with the same idea that just seemed to come about spontaneously. We could call that a murmur, which is a biblical production name, or we can just call it a good idea, because wouldn't be so many people getting it if it wasn't really good. So as far as moving this forward, yes, let's connect with as many people as we can and see how far we can see this puppy fly. Because certainly we have people here who all have the reach to be able to do so. So very first thing would be to, my guests, ante up, put our information in the pot, stir it, see what comes up.
That's a very simple way to do it, yes. So those attendees, of course, those that registered here, I do have your email addresses. And I'll send out to you, you know, from this information about what we're doing here. But for those of you who would like to share information with those here, please put your information in the chat. All of you have my contact information. I do want to say that the idea, though, is that I am going to go ahead and invest in a domain for us to work with. And this is going to be a domain that's going to carry us not just through this year, but through the rest of the decade, at least through 2028. And the idea is that this place, LA, is going to be, I think, the brand that we're going to be working with, because what we also want to do is we want to break down those barriers that unfortunately exist, particularly here in Los Angeles, where I was not born in Los Angeles. I've been here since 1980, but I've seen where, and I've been told that there are children and even adults who fear for their lives because of moving from one side of the street to the other, because it crosses a gang line. But the idea is for us to break down all those barriers and reconnect the entire community back together again. For those of you who don't know the history of gangs in Los Angeles, the gangs in Los Angeles actually were put together as a protective force against white supremacy and brutality by the police and others when the color lines were broken. But now, of course, organizations like the Black Panthers in Oakland have taken that a step further to kind of help and heal our community. And I myself was introduced to the concept of hip hop as the higher inner power, helping our people and healing our people back in 2012. So the idea is for us to take advantage of this opportunity to showcase displaced LA, not just LA City, but LA County. That's 81 cities, including Compton, including Watts, including Long Beach, but also including Malibu, including Beverly Hills. And the idea is that we need to open it up so that we can have a place where people can come and feel safe and secure. And that's what we've been able to do over the last 7 years that I've been the president of 5 Point View Foundation at this location. Lisa and Nese, I don't think, well, I know you haven't physically visited the location, but we're only a few blocks away from where the 1992 civil unrest kicked off. Florence and Normandy is well known. We're only a few blocks away. But 20 years later, when we opened 5 Point View Foundation in 2012, there was still a lot of underserved people in the community, and there was still no economic development in the community. But thanks to the United Hood Nation, we have what's called a safe passage. So people from any Fort Gang can come to our place and be safe. So we have had entertainment events that were promoted by Sir Bailey. He's the son of Philip Bailey of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So we've had performers from the Commodores, from Earth, Wind, and Fire, from around the world that come to this place. And it just so happened when we kicked off the first graffiti event, there was also the Living Well tour kickoff. So we had music and entertainment going on. We had children, we had bubbles, we had balloons. And in the alley, we had artists that were actually doing their graffiti. And we had artists that traveled not just from throughout California, but from as far away as Brazil. And that team will be coming back this year. They'll be coming back in June. So we're going to videotape that. So the outcome I'm trying to accomplish for this event in August is to let the graffiti artists do their thing, but also to let the community have a showcase for not just local, but global talent. And also because we have access to technology, even those people that can't physically be here can pre-record their presentations. So the idea is to actually share this around the world on a free and pay-per-view option so that we generate money now to build a foundation for the next 5 years. Because as you well know, Lisa, the breakdancing may very well be one of the components of the 2028 Olympics. We know it's going to be in the 2024 Olympics.
Yes.
But in order for us to take full advantage of here in Los Angeles of what's called the Crenshaw LAX line, for the first time ever, we have a subway that's coming from LAX through the heart of the Black community, and particularly Lamert Park, which is the heart of the African American community, all the way into Los Angeles. We have 3 stops on that line on the street where our organization is. But we need to now begin to let people know that here we are and begin to plan in advance, because here are murals, here are artwork from our community in a safe environment, but also we want to begin to have an income that we can generate from that so we can support the organization itself and to do pre-promotion and open up our community as we go forward for the Olympics. So that's part of what the idea is. And DeFranco, we are also want to do more in establishing membership drives for each of our organizations. So the idea is for us to begin to find ways we can not just let people know what we're doing, but also to begin to produce edutainment content that can attract our youth as we go forward. So I'll put a pin in that for any questions that we have or statements, and I'll go from there.
Yeah, one thing I can say about that is I've had a nonprofit organization which was based on youth advocacy, and also I've coached youth football. My sons played youth football. My daughters cheered. I coached in the Snoop League. I was on the board for a chapter or organization within the Snoop League. So I've worked with Snoop individually, regarding youth sports. So yeah, can't stress enough the importance of that. And yeah, I mean, I'm definitely have a certain reach, and there's certain networks that definitely can be brought into the fold, and obviously need to be, because um, it sounds like, you know, it's a foundation that, you know, obviously has been laid, and the dots just need to be connected to where, you know, everybody's involved in the bigger picture. And I mean, you know, you don't get bigger than establishing our foundation here at home, and spreading that reach globally, which has been a vision of ours. And so to see that, you know, this exists, and that, um, you know, we can be part of something that propels that vision, and excels it, you know, and expedites it. Again, I can't be any more excited. So yeah, I look forward to contributing in every and any way to that. So yeah, thank you again.
Wonderful. Yeah, I do want to just, on a side note, let you know, at least the needs, that what we have is we have a space. It's in it's actually Florence Mailbox and Business Center is the organization, or the property where we have access to a venue. 5 Points Youth Foundation has no physical structure. All we have is an open lot, but that lot is as large as, I think, 50 by 90 feet, I think is what we measured it out to be. And then in the rear of that lot, we have access to an alley that blocks off. So that's 300 feet. Oh, here's Drew with Public Enemy. Hold on just a moment. Drew with Public Enemy. How you feeling, brother? Andrew Williams Jr., your namesake. Man, look, we want to bring the microphone into our event. Can you hop on this Zoom? You got a minute now or not?
I'm in the car driving right now.
Oh, okay. Well, look, we're doing a event in August the 26th at 5 Points Youth Foundation. We do it every year. We do it, right? But I want to feature the microphone theme, and I also want to start promoting what you're doing. But I'm in the Zoom now, so I'll hit you up. Can you call me back in about 30 minutes or sometime later?
All right, cool.
All right, cool. Yeah, that was Drew with our Public Enemy. As a matter of fact, he's Andrew Williams. I'm Andrew Williams. 5 years ago, he wanted to call his son, who was Andrew Williams, and ended up calling me. so we've been connected for quite some time, but he has a product that he developed called the microphone theme. And theme is after his mom's name, but it's the microphone that has a special grip so that you don't clip your teeth when you're trying to use the microphone to do your event. So part of the idea is to showcase that as one of the products that we will have on our website. So we want to bring e-commerce into what we're doing as well, DeFranco. So when you talk about events for sports, there's always need for uniforms, for things like that. The idea is to have a place where we can begin to have e-commerce that showcases our own talents, products, and services within our hip hop community, and then expand that to a wider audience. Because at the end of the day, even though hip hop was born on the ground, so to speak, most of the people that patronize it are in the top 1%. And so we need to have products and services that they're willing to pay for that will benefit our local community. So keep in mind thoughts like that, what we can do to start bringing together products and services to make this not just, again, an event site, but an experience site. So that's going to be very important, Lisa Dees. I know you have footprints all over the world, but those people that have those products and services in the hip hop community, I think it's time for us to have a place for us to help let them get support from the wider audience that we can reach in the United States and Europe, around the world. Because at the end of the day, like my work in the Philippines, and there, my organization is providing Wi-Fi services to 7,000 people in the Philippines. That was through social enterprise. It's things like that that we need to let people know that we're doing. And I have to bring it back to hip hop because it's again about working with indigenous people and underserved communities to leave no one behind. So that's the connection I'm trying to make with the Sustainable Development Goals and the hip hop activities and ways we can show our local people that they have a family all around the world. So just a note, that's what I would like to see come out of this. Joseph Akinola, be sure that I will send you over a link or at least a name. The first investment I'll make is a domain for what we're doing and the hosting services for that. So at least we have a place to begin to construct all these activities. But I'm going to keep track of this because the idea is for us to not just put money in, but to make this a pay it forward, but pay it back idea. So that the monies we put in, we can get back. This is not something that I'm asking anyone to do. I'm going to take the lead myself. But the idea is to structure it in such a transparent way that it's obvious that we're putting money in to get this thing started. When it gets started, we can get our money back. We can make, or we can choose to make a donation ourselves. But the idea is to make this bigger than just us, because it's all about more than just us. So we need to give credit to those people that help us make this thing happen.
Okay. No, I've got some peeps that I can already reach out to. There are organizations that can assist, of course, all nonprofits. But let's see what I can pull up with my peeps down in the greater Central Valley area. Plus, we're looking at, gosh,
Great.
there are so many association partners down there within the YMCA that it's just pretty amazing how they overlap in services. So I'll see what I can produce and start to hook them in as best I can.
Okay, well, I'll do my part in putting together some kind of general memorandum of understanding or something that will give us a little footprint to work with and start from there. But I think I've done my job, and I think I can give you your day back unless there's anything else. I think I've covered everything I want to cover so far, but ball's in your court now.
One last thing I would say is, excuse me, as early as today, Lisa and I will be jumping on the Hip Hop Congress Clubhouse that you joined us on. I think it was last week, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be jumping on there at noon, and we can start. Hip Hop Congress, as you know, has a global reach as well, and is a fairly large network, and so. We'll start today by, introducing this initiative to the Hip Hop Congress Network and spreading the word and kind of, starting there and starting as soon as a couple hours from now. So, that's what we can do, to get the ball rolling.
Great. Well, the other thing you can do is that the Zoom link that you joined, I set it up to run from now through August 20th. Through the cycle, so you can use that link to invite anyone to next week's event, and then as we go, we can begin to attract people to one place. The whole idea is kind of build together like a registration list of those people that show some interest, and then our team here is going to have to come up with maybe a newsletter or something we can let people know about what we're doing. But the first thing to start is see who's interested and see what they can bring to the table, and let's go from there, DeFranco. And if it's open to me, I really would like to attend today. If it's possible, I'd like to just be a silent visitor, but otherwise, you have my full authority to introduce and represent this team. Ball's in your court.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure we can, Lisa, we can get him the link for the clubhouse today, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Do that right now.
Yeah. So that's in a couple hours. You get a couple hours to yourself, and then we could all jump on that together and then introduce it together. And with you on there, as eloquent of a speaker as you are, you probably do a better service of introducing this and letting them know that us as Hip Hop Congress members, Lisa and myself, are joining you in these efforts. So yeah, that if you're willing and able to jump on, I mean, that would be even better. Yeah, we also have a reunion coming up in June, so that's another opportunity where nationally and hopefully some international representatives of Hip Hop Congress will be joining the reunion in June up in the Bay Area. So that can serve as another point of attack, so to speak, in regards of spreading the word on the initiative. There is what is it, Lisa? The Strutters
Shutters Ball.
room. Yeah, the camp. The
The-
week of
the-
Juneteenth.
Yes,
Yeah, so that'll be happening up in the Bay at the Bay. Is it the Bayview Opera House? I think.
yep.
Yeah.
Bayview Opera
So
House.
yeah.
Lovely
So
building.
yeah, I think that's another good opportunity there, and that'll give us enough time from now till then. Obviously, other things will be happening, obviously, but I think by that time we would have built up enough momentum to where, because I'm actually supposed to present during the conference or during the reunion, from LA. So I can definitely, kind of pick your brain, and I'm sure, again, like I said, the momentum will build from now to then. I'll have enough ammunition and material to really implement this in my presentation as well.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to trust Joseph Acanolo, once I empower him to get those calendar events that you're already doing, because the whole idea is to create a calendar event of everyone. So, whoever's doing something, let's all at least know about it. And the other question I have for you, DeFranco, it sounds like this is maybe an annual event. I don't think it's the first. Is this the first time it's happened, or is this?
No,
So-
it's not. The Strutters Room annual event. It's a series of seminars and a little bit of friendly competition from time to time. It does attract practitioners from around the world. So that, in fact, that's how I first got in touch with Hip Hop Congress, because of a very talented articulation dancer out of Sri Lanka by the name of Sina Dedeen, who we've been trying to get here to the United States, because his talent is enough to warrant such a trip. I first met him trying to get to the Four Corners Festival. I believe that was 3 years ago, right before COVID hit. And then after that, it was this particular event, the Strutters Room. And well, because of political issues in his country, getting out of there is problematic. We do have an airplane ticket for him, but getting the visa is somewhat prohibitive, because the government has disappeared and dissipated to all four corners of the planet, and they're asking for a huge sums. And the only one they've offered is the 1 year B2 visa, so that he
Wow.
can actually get here and work.
Well, on that note, I am working with Joyce Williams. She has the Armour Williams PLLC. So they handle visa and immigration issues. So if that's something that we can be assist with, let me know. I'll be happy to help.
I'll be happy to send you the information. This is a very talented man.
Yeah, and I'll send you back I'll send you her profile. That way you can have it and you can reach out directly to her. But Chester A. Whitmore is a dancer who actually worked with Nicholas Brothers, and he's been part of our team at 5 Points Youth Foundation for quite some time too. So the Strutters Ball sounds like something that he might be actively going to or needs to know about. So it's another reason we should let each other know what's going on with us.
Oh, and pull it in. These are the same group who've taken an active participation in the H2E2 initiative put forward by Cal State, offering the possibility of advanced degrees for those teachers and practitioners of hip hop culture. And that's another thing that you'll probably want to discuss with Rahman Jamal of the Hip Hop Congress, because they've been an active participant as well. So, and put that out there for all our peeps. Yes, you can get a university degree doing what you love to do. And it is now out there. It was part of what we did get after 14 years building dance-based programs inside the systems, until the Board of Education and the Y of the USA were satisfied that these were positive outcomes all the way around for every population that we reached out to with dance-based programming. Okay. Had to put the plug.
Well, there is
Yeah,
actually yeah, go ahead, Franco.
no, I was just gonna say a little further context to the event in June. Yeah, that event is annual, but as far as Hip Hop Congress, there hasn't been they used to call them conferences. They're calling this one a reunion, but there hasn't been one in 10 years. So just to give context, imagine this network that is, been in place for 30 years and is gone strong, hasn't had a national or international conference in 10 years. So, the hopefully that build up and the excitement of it will get that many people out coming out in June. So it seems like the stars kind of are aligned for all of these things to happen. And, God doesn't make mistakes. And, I see Skip Townsend's name and he's getting awards, and I've seen all the stuff he's done. And I saw Silky D and DJ Smurf at the Project Blow 28th anniversary celebration. I hadn't seen them in a while. And so, like I said, the stars are already aligned, even before this meeting. And so I just feel confident going forward that, they'll continue to align and get us to an end result that we're looking for.
Yeah, I'm going to share with both of you two, or with all our team, Joseph Akinola's background, because he's in IT in Nigeria, but he's also a person that's working together with me to kind of pull all these things together. So all of our resources, DeFranco, are available to you. Our website, our nwm.tv, or whatever we have. But obviously, we're in a position, if we so choose, to allow participants with your Congress worldwide to participate. I mean, we got a platform, so even though those can't physically travel, we can make that available. But on the flip side, what we're talking about is what these organizations that have budgets are supposed to be doing. After George Floyd was killed, there was $60 billion worth of money that were dedicated to addressing the quote underserved community. That's gone now to $348 billion, but they have no clue of how to deliver that to people like us. We have to be the ones to demonstrate what we're doing is not just worthy of those dollars, but we have to have a pathway for them to make it easy for them to include us on their annual budget. That's why I keep talking about annual, et cetera, because it's kind of short term to expect any corporate sponsorship for less than really a year, but 90 days, 60 days. But the whole idea is if we have a 5-year track, that gives us time enough to find like an anchor investor, even someone, I have to tell you, like JP Morgan Chase, or even Mobile Exxon, who may be toxic as far as the general public is concerned, but they have corporate social responsibility dedications. They have to spend their money doing something. So we have to, I think, be in line to take whatever we can that doesn't compromise our own ethics to advance the causes that we care about. So that's just a note I'd like to throw into the hat as we go forward.
Yeah, it's a pretty important note.
Oh, yes. And that's why I like you so much, because every once in a while you put that note in, and which I appreciate, because this is something, a big program such as what we're doing here worldwide is going to attract a lot of people looking for what they can take away for themselves. And it's something that, of course, we all know about because we've all experienced the damage that occurs when that happens. And we all know well enough what to do to try to keep that number down. So thankfully, we've got all those people on board with the sound, heart, and the eye that they've learned through experience, so that we can move forward in a much more secure way, I'm hoping.
Yeah, Andrew, if you didn't know, Lisa is definitely the gatekeeper, and she's the bulldog, so she's gonna make sure that that nobody's misappropriating, and that nobody's coming in to try and take advantage of what we're doing.
Well, a childhood with a father in the entertainment field had me learning how to basically sniff them as soon as they walked in the door. You learn. Okay, what is
All
this?
right, well, we've done it. We've put in a good hour. So sharing my screen. This is actually this place in LA. This was devised back in 2014, I think it was. But you'll see at the bottom there, this is the actual physical location of 5 Point View Foundation, just to let you know. That was it back then. We've had a lot of development since that time. But this is, again, a weekly event. So I want to invite everyone to come back to us next week at this time. I'm going to send this recording out to the team. But yeah, please send the invitation. I'll be there at 12 o'clock today. I know you're still traveling. And Seema, we're about to wrap up. Do you have any closing thoughts or ideas? Now's the time.
No, I'm just excited to be on this line and I'm ready to help in any way possible. So thank you again.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
love to all of you. I'm going to wrap it up. That's it for today.
Okay,